Hello everybody, welcome back to Clues by Sam. Happy Friday, I hope you all are doing good. We are playing a tricky Clues by Sam today, so not a hard one on a Friday, which is nice, so we can kick off the weekend. And if you don't know what Clues by Sam is, or you're new here, it is a puzzle game we play every day here on the channel, and it increases in difficulty along the week. So today we have a tricky one, and in it there are 20 people. We gotta find out if each of them is a criminal or an innocent using the clues that they might give us. None of them tell lies, and there's no guessing involved. If you want to play along, there is a link in the description to take you to today's, and I'm gonna start mine right now and explain my logic as I go so we can do it together. Let's start with Ollie telling us that only one of the three criminals neighboring Isaac is below Irving. So there's two people below Irving neighboring Isaac. One of them is not a criminal, clearly, because that's Ollie himself, so that makes the other person the criminal, and we don't need Ollie's clue anymore. Joy now says that only one of the three criminals neighboring Henry... Oh, I'm gonna leave Ollie's clue here because it tells us about the three criminals neighboring Isaac, so that's good. A good thing to remember. Joy says that one of the three criminals neighboring Henry is in row 3. So there's two people neighboring Henry in row 3, and they are opposites, one a criminal, one an innocent. And there's three people neighboring Henry who are criminals. So there's two people neighboring Henry here in row 1, but they are both shared with Isaac. And if both of them were criminals, that will make Henry have his 3 criminals, which is okay. But now Isaac has more criminals than he should because of Joy. These two appear, that's 3, and one down here in row 3. That's 4 criminals neighboring Isaac, and we know that Isaac has only 3 of them. So Cheryl and Deborah, who are shared with Henry, are for sure opposites, and Henry still needs a 3rd criminal. That has to be Isaac himself. Now, Isaac's 3 criminal neighbors are all done. There's one up here in row 1, there's one in row 3, and there's Joy. That's 3. So I said that Ollie's clue will be good, and it tells us that everybody else, the neighbors, Isaac is an innocent. Now we don't need Joy's clue anymore, do we? I don't think so. Irene tells us there's an odd number of criminals neighboring... Oh, there's an odd number of criminals below Freya, so there's 4 people below Freya. Either 3 of them are criminals or just 1. That's the odd numbers. Henry says that Kita has exactly 3 innocent neighbors. Where's Kita? Kita has 1 innocent neighbor up here. She's gonna have 2 more we don't know about yet. Isaac says that Wally and Uma have only 1 criminal neighbor in common. So Wally and Uma have 2 people in common neighboring them. One of them is a criminal, the other one is an innocent. And now Kita has 2 innocents neighboring her, one here in row 3 and one here who's either Raul or Vince. That's 2. She needs a 3rd one, that's Uma, the only person left. We don't need Henry's clue anymore. Uma now says that only one of the 3 criminals neighboring Wally is in column D. So Wally, 3 criminals seems to be, or 3s seem to be the theme for today. Wally has 1 criminal here in column B, and he's gonna have a 2nd one in column D, who's either Tina or Xavi. But he needs a 3rd one, and there's only Sue left, so Sue has to be a criminal. We don't need Uma's clue anymore now. Sue says that there's an odd number of criminals in row 3. So row 3 so far has 1 criminal here who's either gonna be Max or Noah, and there's only 1 person left besides these 2. That's Penny. If Penny were to be a criminal, that would be 2 criminals in row 3, and that's not an odd number, so Penny has to be an innocent. And now Penny says that each column has at least 2 criminals. So let's think about this. Let's go back to Irving's school. There's an odd number of criminals below Freya. We know that there's going to be 1 criminal here neighboring Wally that is below Freya. And there's 1 person left besides these 2 people here below Freya. That's Logan. If Logan were to be a criminal, that would be 2 criminals below Freya, and that's an even number, so Logan can't be a criminal. And since each column has at least 2 criminals, column D still needs a 2nd criminal. That has to be Freya, because there's only 1 here below her. Now, I guess we don't need Irving's clue anymore. Logan says there's an odd number of criminals neighboring Raul. Well, we don't know about Kita and Wally yet, so we can't act on that. And Freya says there's an equal number of instances in column C and D. So we know that column D has 3 instances total. Logan, Penny, and somebody else, that's 3. So that means that column C needs a 3rd instance as well, and that has to be Wally. Wally now says there are exactly 2 instances below Henry. So Henry has 3 people below him. One of them is already an instant, that's Uma. So that makes the other 2 opposites. What color do I use here? I'm running out of colors again. And now we know something about Raul, because Raul has Sue. That's 1 criminal neighbor. Is the clue talking about criminals? Yeah. So that's 1 criminal neighbor. Raul is gonna have a 2nd criminal neighbor who's either Max or Kita. And there's another 2 people neighboring him. So that means that one of those 2 has to be a criminal to make an odd number. So these 2 are opposites as well. What else do we know now? We know that column A needs a 2nd criminal, and so far it has only 1 here, who's either Max or Kita. So that makes Cheryl the 2nd criminal, which makes Deborah an instant. Deborah now tells us that Tina is one of 5 criminals on the edges, so Tina is a criminal, which makes Davey an instant. And how many criminals do we have on the edges? Cheryl, Freya, that's 2, Tina, 3. We're gonna have a 4th one here in column A, that's either Max or Kita, so we need a 5th, and that has to be Vance. So Vance is a criminal, we're talking about criminals, yeah. And that makes Noah an instant, which makes Max a criminal, which makes Kita an instant, and Raul was opposite with Vance. Or with Noah. With Vance, I think. Yeah. Almost made myself make a mistake there. But that's one of the sort of, sometimes tagging too much is a benefit, sometimes it's not. Because you can end up confusing yourself when there's too many tags. But I think having more colors of tags would help that. Because sometimes there's 2 people who are tagged with pink, and then I use the upper tag and the lower tag to differentiate the 2. But it might end up confusing it just as well, so I don't know. I got the puzzle anyway, and it was under 6 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and you have a nice weekend. I'll leave you here for today and see you tomorrow for more Clues by Sam.